The Maitri Upanishad in simple English, presented by Svayam Prakash Sharma, part 4 of 7. In this part we learn that the eating of food is a sacrificial act. We learn about Purusha and Prakriti, the supreme and nature. We learn about the importance of time and about the vision of the self. The Upanishad. Therefore, he who knows that he has both these, breath and the sun, as his self, his Atma, he meditates only on his self. He sacrifices only to his self. The wise praise this kind of meditation, where the mind is absorbed in such a practice. One should purify the impurities of his mind with the verse, what has been defiled, what has been made impure by the leavings. He reads the verse, leavings, or what has been made impure by the leavings, or what has been given by one who has committed a sin, or what has been made impure by a stillbirth. May the purifying power of Vasu, of Agni, and of Savitri's rays purify my food and all other evils. Before eating his food, he cleans his breath by rinsing his mouth with water. He offers the oblation with these 5 invocations. Hail to the Pran breath, hail to the Apan breath, hail to the Vyan breath, hail to the Saman breath, hail to the Udan breath. He then again cleans his breath by rinsing his mouth with water. Then, after sipping the water and after having made the sacrifice to the self, he should meditate on the self with these 2 formulae. One as breath and fire, and the second as you are all. As breath and fire, the highest self has entered into the body with the 5 vital breaths. When he, the enjoyer of all, is pleased, may he then please all. You are all. You are the Vaishvanar fire, the fire of the world. All that is born is supported by you. May all oblations enter into you. All beings live only where you, the immortal, are. Therefore, he who eats according to this rule, he does not come again into the condition of food. He does not again become food for others. He is not born again. Now there is something else also that should be known. There is a further development of this sacrifice with regard to the food and with regard to the eater of food. An explanation of this is as follows. The conscious person abides within nature. He resides in nature, and it is he who is the enjoyer of the food that is supplied by nature. It is he who eats the food supplied by nature. This elemental self is in fact for this conscious person, and its maker is nature. The evidence of this is what is observed by the senses. Therefore, that which is to be enjoyed consists of the 3 qualities, Sattva, Rajas and Tamas. And the person who enjoys these qualities is the person who stands within the body. Here again, the evidence is what is observed by the senses. Since animals spring from seed, and since seed is the food, this then explains the nature that is to be enjoyed. Therefore, the person who is within is the enjoyer, and nature is what is to be enjoyed. Abiding both in the body and in nature, he enjoys. All that which begins with the intellect and which ends with the elements, all of that is only a transformation of nature. And being a transformation of the distinction of nature with its 3 qualities, this is an indication that there must be a self. This also explains the 14-fold course, the 4 forms of Antahkaran, intellect, determination, conception and self-love, and the 10 organs, 5 of perception and 5 of action. This world is in fact food which we know as pleasure, as pain, and as delusion. There is no catching the taste of the seed or of the cause as long as no effect is produced. The taste of the seed is caught only when the seed produces an effect. And in its three conditions also, life has the character of food, as childhood, as youth, and as old age. On account of transformation, there is the character of food in them. Thus, as nature moves from the state of the unseen unmanifest to the state of the seen manifest, it is then that there arises the perception of nature. It is then that we perceive nature. And for the tasting of the effects of nature, there arise in man intellect, determination, conception, and self love, and the like. Then, for tasting them, there are the five organs of sense: the eyes, the nose, the ear, the tongue, and the skin. These result in all the actions of all the organs, those of the senses and those of action. Thus, the unmanifest and the manifest both are food. Though the enjoyer of food is himself without qualities, but because of the fact that he is the enjoyer, it is evident that he possesses consciousness. As fire is the eater of food among the gods, and Som is the food of the gods, so he who knows this, he eats food by fire. The elemental self is called Som. He is the manifest food. He who has the unmanifest as his mouth, he is called Agni, fire. Because of the saying, the person who has the unmanifest as his mouth, he truly enjoys the three qualities. He who knows this, he is a renouncer, he is a contemplator, he is a performer of the self-sacrifice. And just as there is no one to touch sensual women who enter an empty house, in the same way, a person who is a renouncer, a contemplator, and a performer of sacrifice, he does not touch the objects of sense that enter into him. He is like an empty house. Food, in fact, is the highest form of the self, for this life consists of food. If one does not eat, then he becomes a non-thinker, a non-hearer, a non-toucher, a non-seer, a non-speaker, a non-smeller, and a non-taster, and he lets go of his vital breaths. For it has been said, if one eats, he then becomes full of life. He can then think, he can then hear, he can touch, he can speak, he can taste, he can smell, he can see. For so it has been said, it is in fact from food that all creatures that dwell on earth are produced. They all live by this food, and finally they all pass into this food. And so it has been said elsewhere, all the creatures here in existence run about day after day desiring to get food. The sun takes food to itself by its rays, and because of that, the sun gives out heat. When supplied with food and having eaten food, living beings here digest the food. Fire blazes up by food. This world was fashioned by Brahma with the desire for food. Therefore, man should revere food as the self. For so it has been said, from food all creatures are born. After birth, they grow by food, and because it is eaten by creatures, and because it eats creatures, it is called food. Now it has been said elsewhere, that which is born of the blessed Vishnu, who is called the all-supporting, that in fact is this food. Life is the essence of food. Mind is the essence of life. Understanding is the essence of the mind, and spiritual bliss is the essence of understanding. He who knows this, he becomes the possessor of food. He becomes the possessor of life. He becomes the possessor of mind. He becomes the possessor of understanding, and he becomes the possessor of spiritual bliss. Whatever creatures here on earth eat food, abiding in all of them does he who knows this eat food. Food prevents decay. Food is worshipful, and it is said, food is the life of animals. Food is the firstborn. Food is the physician who cures all ailments. So it is said. And so it has been said elsewhere. Food is the source of the whole world, and time is the source of food, and the sun is the source of time. The year is the form of time, which is composed of moments and other measures of time. The year consists of 12 months. There are two halves of the movement of the sun. One half, when the sun moves northward, the path of Uttarayan, that half belongs to Agni. And the other half, the Dakshinayan, when the sun moves southward, that half belongs to Varun. The course of the sun from the asterism Magh, the sickle, to half of Shravishta, the drum, the course of the sun belongs to Agni. In its northwards course from Sarp the serpent to half of Shravishta, the drum, this course of the sun belongs to the moon. Among these, each month of the self is named as the year and includes 9 quarters according to the corresponding course of the sun through the asterism. Because of its subtlety, because of its imperceptibility to the senses, this course of the sun is the proof. For only is the proof of time. For only in this way is time proved to exist. Without proof, there is no apprehension. There is no catching of the thing to be proved. However, whatever is to be proved may become proved from the fact of its containing parts and for the sake of making itself known. For so it has been said, as many parts of time as there are, the sun in the sky moves through all these parts of time. He who worships time as Brahma, time moves far away from him. For it has been said, from time all beings flow. In time they advance to growth, and it is in time that they obtain their rest. It is in time that they disappear. Time is both with form and without form. There are in fact two forms of Brahma, one that consists of time and the other which is timeless. That which is prior to, that which is before the sun, that is time without parts, and that which has its beginning with or after the sun, that is time which has parts. The form of that time which has parts is the year. From the year all beings, all creatures are produced. After having been produced, they all grow by the year, and it is in the year that they all disappear. Therefore, the year is Prajapati. It is time. It is food. It is the abode of Brahma. It is the self. For so it has been said, time ripens all things in the great self. And he who knows in what time is ripened, he is the knower of the Veda. This embodied and incarnate time is the great ocean of creatures. In this time abides he who is called Savitar, who is the sun, who is the begetter father, from whom are born the moon, the stars, the planets, the year, and the rest. And from them comes this whole world here in existence, and from them also comes all the good and the evil that is seen in this world. Brahm is the self of the sun. Therefore, one should revere the sun under the name of time. Some say the sun is Brahm, and so it is said, the offerer of the sacrifice, the enjoyer of the sacrifice, the oblation, the hymn, the sacrifice itself, Vishnu, Prajapati, all this is the Lord, the witness who shines in the sun over there. In the beginning, this world was the one infinite Brahm, infinite in all the directions, infinite in the east, in the west, in the south, and in the north, infinite above and infinite below, infinite in all directions. For him, no directions exist. There is no east, west, north, or south. For him, there is no below or above. For him, none of these exist. He is the Supreme Self, whose self is space, who is incomprehensible. He is unlimited. He has no limits, and because he is not determinate, he cannot be reasoned or thought about. At the dissolution of all, when all the world and everything in existence dissolve, he alone remains awake. So, from that space, he awakens the world, which consists of thought only. By him alone is all this meditated upon, and in him alone is all this dissolved. He is that luminous form which gives heat in the sun. It is he who gives the wonderful light to the smokeless fire, and it is he who gives fire in the stomach which digests the food. For so it has been said, he who is in the fire, who is here in the heart of everyone, and who is in the sun, he is one. He who knows this, he also becomes one with the one Brahm. He obtains oneness with the one Brahm. This is the rule for achieving this oneness: control of the breath, withdrawal of the senses, meditation, concentration, contemplative inquiry, inquiry as to whether the mind has become transformed or not into the object of meditation, or investigating the causes that hinder meditation and absorption. This is said to be the sixfold yoga. When by this yoga a person beholds the golden colored maker, the Lord, the person, the source of Brahma, then the sage, shaking off both good and evil, makes everything into oneness, in the one indestructible Supreme. For so it has been said, as beasts and birds do not go to a burning mountain, in the same way sins and evil do not find a home in those who know Brahm. And so it has been said elsewhere, when a knower has restrained his mind from the external, when his breath has put to rest objects of sense, he should remain empty, void of conceptions. Since the living individual, who is called the breathing spirit, has arisen from what is not the breathing spirit, therefore the breathing spirit should merge his breathing spirit in the fourth condition known as Turiya. For so it has been said, that which is non-thought, that which is unthinkable, that which is the hidden, that which is the highest, man should merge his thoughts in that highest. It is then that this living being will be without attachment. And so it has been said elsewhere, there is yet a higher concentration than this for him. By pressing the tip of his tongue down the palate, by restraining voice, mind, and breath, he sees Brahm through contemplative thought. When, by the suppression of the mind, he sees through his self, the shining self, more subtle than the subtle, then, having obtained that self through his self, he becomes selfless. And because he is selfless, he is thought of as immeasurable and as without origin. This is the mark of liberation. This is the highest mystery. And so it has been said, for the serenity of thought, one destroys all deeds, both good and bad, and with the serene self, abiding in the self, he enjoys eternal happiness. And so it has been said elsewhere, where the channel called Sushumna, leading upwards, serving as the passage for the breath, is divided within the palate. Through this, when it is joined by the breath, by the syllable Om, and by the mind, then he should proceed upwards by it. By causing the tip of the tongue to turn back on the palate, by binding the senses together, then greatness should see greatness. From there he goes to selflessness. On account of selflessness, he stops being an experiencer. He neither experiences pleasure nor does he experience pain. He obtains aloneness. For so it has been said, having first fixed the breath that has been restrained, having crossed the limit, he should join the limitless in the crown of the head. Freed from limitations, he becomes conscious of the perfection of the unlimited Brahm. Yes, he becomes conscious of the perfection of the unlimited Brahm. This concludes part 4 of 7 of the Maitri Upanishad. Om Shanti 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 Om.